Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Power Talk with me, Tessie Koshi, and our guest, Sri Lakshmi. Sri is an intuitive healer, regression therapist, creative director, and visual artist whose work bridges art, deep consciousness, and personal transformation. Shree's professional journey began as a digital artist working with organizations, curating art exhibitions, and creative experiences. Over the years, her passion for understanding human emotions and universal consciousness led her to explore spirituality, personal growth, and healing modalities. Today, she combines her artistic and spiritual background to help individuals uncover, understand, and release deep subconscious patterns. Her practice includes a range of modalities, including past life regression, age regression, Reiki, art therapy, intuitive reading, somatic energy release, and Akashic record reading. She has been helping individuals to tap into the root cause of their emotional issues with inner child healing, birth trauma release, understanding the limiting beliefs in their lives, and helping them to release the recurring life patterns. So, Shri, thank you so
Thank
much for
you.
being here today with us.
Thank you for having me.
We are so excited to hear from you. And first of all, I want to thank you for the fact that you've accepted this invitation to come at the book club. And the second fact is that you had a tough week last week and you still
Yes.
kept your commitment to come here.
Yes, I was actually looking forward to coming and seeing everyone. So
So that means a lot to us.
yes.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for having me.
So we want to tell you, Shri, that we just finished reading this beautiful book called The Power of the Subconscious Mind.
Yeah.
And you as an expert, we want to know that what is the difference between the conscious mind and the subconscious mind?
If I would say it in a very simple sentence, the conscious mind is your active mind, your current awareness, and subconscious is that everything that is going on in the background without your awareness. So, for example, I can say that. For example, if you take smoking, you know that smoking is bad for your health. It's not good at all. But the subconscious happens when that trigger comes in, like immediately you're stressed, or like some people, like after their lunch, immediately their hand goes to the pocket to grab a cigarette. So that's what is the subconscious doing. It is an automated system. It's a collection, I'll say it's a gallery of memories, experiences, beliefs that we have all gathered through our life experiences throughout our journey, and we're just like working behind scenes without our awareness.
Wow, that's a very simplistic and a very relatable explanation, I must say. So, what are the ways in which we can tap into our subconscious and reprogram it then?
The best way I would say, like everybody can do, is through meditation, because the subconscious become active once our conscious mind is relaxed. So meditation practices are the best. You can tap into it through your creativity. Like how artists are, like they're mostly working with their subconscious, and the creative energy like activates the subconscious. Another thing, as you say, the easiest and the fastest and more powerful way is through like hypnotherapy. So regression, hypnotherapy, all of that practices also will help you to access the subconscious. And if you need to make changes, then that is the most powerful way, I would say, through hypnotherapy with someone's assistance. But if you yourself have to work, then tap into your creativity, some sort of energy healings like sound baths. All of those also will calm down the subconscious mind, or like activate something in you. But I would suggest, if you want to work on a regular basis at home, it would be meditation, journaling, sketching, all of that.
Okay. So we were heard about how your early childhood experiences influence your mind, especially your
Yeah.
subconscious mind.
Yes.
So how do we tap into that, identify the root causes of some of our emotional beliefs?
So basically, if I say that these experiences and the effects start way before your birth, like when you're in your mother's womb. So everything that the child hears, the mother experiences, the child also will absorb all of that. Even during the birth time, that specific moment of being born, the child is like a fish out of water. It's coming to like an alien world. That impacts. Then the age from like 0 to like at least like 7 is very important, because the child is like a sponge. It responds, and it understands its value in the so when we do like inner child healing and regression, we have like certain category of kids. So for example, if a kid is born in a household where both the parents are working, a lot of kids face this issue called the abandonment issue, um, which later in their life leads to like extreme people pleasing characters or like insecurities. Or if it's a kid that is born in a joint family and not only his parents but like every other relative have an opinion about his life, he would end up being, you know, grown as a confused person, can't make his own decisions, or again there is this extreme people pleasing attitude that comes in. The childhood and the experiences created around that time, especially with boundaries and all of that, it is a lot connected, like how you were raised and how you grow up. What we do is that first of all we have like a pre-talk session where we like identify what are the key issues. Then we, through hypnosis, we understand what is the root cause, and from there we clear it. When we do like a regression, we do it through like the release through multiple modalities. So first we do the hypnotherapy, from there you do somatic energy release, and then we do cognitive reversal technique where if there's a negative situation, we do the reversal or a counter dialogue for it, and we break that belief. So that's how the methodology of
Got it.
regression happens.
So that's another. My next question is that, you know, like we've heard that you do past life regression, age regression, akashic records. So can
Yeah.
you, for all of us, explain a little bit about what
Sure,
exactly are these? You know.
Okay, so regression is basically you identify a specific cause or like an issue, and you release it out of your subconscious mind. And it is done through like several modalities. You can use Reiki, white light healing, somatic like energy release. Then there is counter dialogues. So all of that we use, and this client will be in like a hypnosis state. So, and you can be aware of everything around. It's just that you'll be relaxed more. And so that's what regression happens, because regression is for everything that happens within your current life, from postnatal, like from your birth, the entire life. So the current life is age regression, past life is the life before, and the in between life and death state also. As we believe in the theory of past life regression, is that the soul goes through certain patterns, like in a previous lifetime. So it has impacted several patterns in the current life, like for example phobias or like unexplainable pains, all of that. Akashic record is a little more spiritual modality where we see theoretically there is a what you say, a soul's blueprint that is in the ether. So we access that, and we give guidance based on that. So your life purpose, for example, why you are born to this family, any sort of guidance.
Tell us some of the experiences, the healing that, you know, that you have experienced with other people during such sessions. You know, anything like that.
I'll say like recently I had a client who has been doing PLR, past life regression, with me for a while. So she initially came in with a relationship issue, but we did regress, and we kind of ended up into her life goal, where uh, she has been seen as a dancer, like in multiple lifetimes. She kept that urge somewhere inside, but has never explored it or something. But after like a few sessions, like her whole need for getting married or like anything, just like that became secondary. And she's now started up taking dance, and she's like grasping it like very quickly, like her talents like came out like really fast. So something that we learned like in a month or something, she started grasping it very fast from the past life knowledge. So that has been I feel like for me also, like it's very rewarding to see such experiences. And I have had clients where they have experienced like continuous pain in certain areas, and we see either like in a childhood or something, some issues happen, or in the past life, and that pain has gotten stuck related to an emotion. And once we release it, that pain is gone. So several of such incidents. The best part I feel is that being able to relieve or like let go of grief, because a lot of men, like at least in my dad's age and everything, they hold up a lot of grief, which I have been seeing in a lot of my sessions. That like at that, for example, at the time of their parents' death or something, they take up the family's responsibility and everything, and they couldn't release that grief. Then they face some other issue, like they cannot work, or like they are having a high procrastination kind of issue, but they come for it. But the root cause was that grief, they couldn't like cry
Process
and
it.
let.
What has been your personal healing experience, like from public relations, fashion to now
Yeah.
healing? So how did you do that?
For me, so like all of my journey was into fashion. Like when I got out of college, I worked with editorial. Like I wanted to like create photo shoots, which I did, like which I was doing. But over the years, like it got really I think it drained me out so much. Like life became so mechanical. It started like affecting my health. So I was working with this prominent fashion brand, and we were shooting like every day in the studio. Even during COVID, we were like in the studio. So it just affected my health like a lot, especially like my liver. Then but I was not into like any bad food habits or drinking or anything, but it was all caused because of stress. So that point, like I had to like let go of that job, but I was still doing my fashion works and everything. But I don't know, like as years passed, things were not working for me. Like I was not feeling that kind of accomplishment or happiness of because before I have experienced that, but the same level was not happening. So then I got into like meditation, and I have had like glimpses of my past life, like a little bit. So I wanted to know more deep about it. So I kept like learning and learning, and I just love learning. So even when I was doing fashion, I would have like 10 other diplomas.
Oh.
So even now I'm just keeping on learning. So uh, I think the whole learning process taught me like how life is very different from what you think. And it's also that calling, and sometimes also we take a pause. We have to take a pause basically to unlearn what we have learned, start something new. I feel like no time is too late. Like when you feel that moment where things are not working, you can, skip into like something that is working for you. So I took that call, and I had so many amazing coaches, which facilitated my healing as well as my education in this field. And yeah, then here I
So
am.
how did you go about it? Like, what did you learn first? And like
First, so while I was doing my coaching, my coach was like, why don't you take up like like an intuitive reading practice? So everybody starts with the tarot. So I was just reading for my family and like close friends and everything, and it was working for a while. But for me, tarot was very limited because I would look at the principles and everything, images, and try to decode it. So it was limiting, I think, the kind of energy that I was channeling. So then after that, I took Akashic, where you don't have to do anything. Like you don't have to look at any principle or tarot. It's a direct download. So initially, like after the class, I had my first client who was my classmate as well. So only if you pass a certain level of consultation, you would get the certificate, because Akashic record is like just a 2-day class. And so she was sitting in front of me, and she was having this particular issue that she can't trust anyone. So we were gonna look at the root cause of where it started. Then I like basically saw where she was in her school, and I was explaining the exact uniform, and where she was betrayed and pushed by a classmate. And that's the first time I'm knowing her. She was a girl from Syria. So then I got the confidence that I could do this. I got the certificate. Then I have been like actively consulting people. But like regression, past life regression was always in my mind after reading also the Many Lives, Many Masters. So that book was a big inspiration. And so then I started taking up like courses. Then I took my final past life regression course from a well-known institute in India. In between, I was again like, to back this up and to what do you say? For me, it's like if I'm in an industry, I should know like most of the things that I'm handling around. So I took up Reiki, I took up art therapy.
Okay. You
So
wanted to do your proper education in that.
yeah.
I got it.
So like even with clients, when they come, like there are certain points where I'm like stuck. So then that would like motivate me to like learn
Something new.
So yeah, exactly.
Got it.
So
I've heard that the similar thing with other healers also. Like they
Yes.
stumble upon it and they go after the quest to
Yeah.
learn more, leads
To
to
help
one
them,
modality to
exactly.
the other, so that's wonderful. So Shri, what are the misconceptions people have when they want to reprogram their minds? What do they generally come to you with, that what are they not able to do?
Yeah, so like there's a lot of them. First of all, first one is that they think that when you say hypnotherapy, they think, oh yeah, you're gonna hypnotize me and make me do things without my knowledge. So that is one major misconception. Like another thing is that there's a lot of fake people in the industry. Like maybe these people who come in have lost a lot of money. By asking to do this that and all of that. Another thing is that people think that a lot of times if there's a tough relationship which you have to really get out, but if the other party is not interested, the relationship will work somehow if you do all these energy work. But the fact is that like you cannot if you're like suffering in a relationship and if it's not doing any kind of benefit for you, don't force on that and don't think that any healer could like do some magic and like patch up the relationship and make it wonderful. They go healers after healers and take up modalities and like waste their money when they have to just put a stop and like work on themselves. Maybe it is a deeper cause, like maybe an abandonment issue or like a trauma bonding that is actually pulling them towards this person. But like there's a lot of like I would say glorification on twin flame, soulmate, which people don't really understand, and they stay in toxic relationships or like all these negative cycles because they themselves like decide, this is what it is, and they go around and then try to make things work. So that won't happen most of the time if it's not meant to be. Like you cannot, like the healers cannot do any magic and make it work.
Okay. So what is a kind of a easy, beginner-friendly daily routine that all of us can embrace to change the negative talk that we have, with us?
Got it. Okay, I will tell you like a small process you can do. So if you are like right before going to bed, like just meditate for 5 minutes, have your mind relax, and think about that one negative thought that's always coming and bothering your mind. Concentrate on that thought and see where you feel it in your body. You can feel the sensation where it would be like maybe a tingling or a vibration. So concentrate on that. Then see like if there's any kind of statement, memory, or something coming up. Journal it, write it down. When you write it down, you can see like, okay, how can I reverse it? Then think about that. Like for example, you have an insecurity that keep bothering you, like where someone told you that okay, you are not beautiful or something, and this things get stuck in our mind and just bothers us for like forever in our life. So you find the statement, think about who said this, and just reverse it and just say that that's wrong. That's that person's perspective. This is not the truth. And you can continuously journal about these things and you can get rid of your
Negative
self-talk. Yeah.
That's a very doable thing.
Yeah.
I think let's all embrace that. Also, Shri, you know that we are a book club. So any books that you recommend for us to read, mindset and healing and all of this? Yeah, tell us.
So I would first suggest like Many Lives, Many Masters.
Okay.
Another book it's very interesting that I have recently read is The Disappearing Act by Robert Chien. So it is a collective anthology of different stories. Basically, each characters are very interesting because they all come from like a socio-psychological problem that they are facing. For example, it could be like an obsession or like self-love issues, control issues. but it's very mentioned in a very subtle way, but you could see the journey of each characters, how they ended up in that, and how it has psychologically like messed up their minds.
Oh,
So it's a fiction, but
Okay.
a lot of psychology is involved in it, and you could see the patterns and how their characters are building up and growing up from that state of
Oh.
mind.
Lovely. So we'll check these out. Also, Shri, so my last question to you is what has made it all worthwhile for you, this journey of, like art and fashion and now healing and also.
I think I'm still learning. It has, I feel like everything is a learning experience, and the more you learn, you become more confident. Because if you ask me, like 2 years back, I was not like this. I couldn't speak like this. So I think it has worked a lot on my confidence, and also uh, while being able to like guide someone gives you a lot of self satisfaction. Something you feel good, like every time that you go back to your bed, you feel good that you have helped out someone. And fashion is still there. I love being creative, but I have limited it to a way that it doesn't get very commercial, and trying to help like beginner designers and everything. So uh, I feel like everything is a part of the journey, and everything is a learning experience, and I just love absorbing knowledge.
So thank you so much, Shri.
Thank
We had a great learning experience with
Thank
you.
you.
So we're going to go back with many takeaways from this
Thank you.
conversation. Thank you.
Even I had amazing time. Thank
Thank
you.
you.